All right, dickheads. Richard here, back to give you some info on another night. Like I told you I would. Told you I was going to give you a couple nights over a couple weeks, so let's do it. I love doing this stuff. I love the nights of the round table. I love looking into the lore. I have so much fun doing these, and I appreciate all the well wishes you guys have been sending me about these nights and how much you're enjoying them as well. Before I get into the episode, let's talk about lies. Yeah, I lied to you again, like I always do in these episodes. I told you I would. It's not like I'm like keeping this a big secret. I just want to infiltrate Arthurian lore. I want to be a part of it. I want someone to take this as serious and then go into their episode and write it. Then somebody listens to that episode and thinks it's real, and then it just starts snowballing until 100 years from now, one of my lies is in there. Okay? It's the way I can live forever. I'm doing a great job here. This is infiltrating Arthurian lore is I'm sure people have tried it over the years, actually. I don't think it's an original idea, but I think if I do get it, if I see it on somebody else's episode, I'll be very pumped. That's all. So in our last episode about Sir Accolon, I told you about the story about Accolon waking up in a harpy nest and killing a harpy with his bare hands in a dead knight's helmet. Well, that was untrue. Okay, I made that part up. I had to put harpy sounds in and everything to try and make it sound real for you. I knew you guys would love it. I knew that lie would be fun. Harpies aren't even like Arthurian legend. They're like from Greek legend. So, yeah, my bad. So the harpy thing was fun. It was fun. He kills with his bare hands, like an Accolon's bad boy. So today, without further ado, let's get into it. We are going to talk about Sir Bleoberis, or as when I was a child, I used to call him Sir Blueberries.
An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
Some people call him Sir Bleoberis of the Wilderness. He is the son of Nestor, who is godson of King Bors, whom we've talked about in the past. He's also the brother of Sir Blamor de Gannis, and he's cousins to Lancelot. Bors is Lancelot's father, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken in this. We haven't done Lancelot yet, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Bleoberis is often described as skilled and honorable. Bleoberis is mentioned a lot in stories about Tristram, or Tristane. He's a buddy with him. He's always fighting. He's always jousting in tournaments. Not often the main event, Bleoberis, but just mention that he's fighting while the whole main storyline is happening around it. Sometimes Bleoberis can be a dickhead, as you will see. So Sir Bleoberis is first mentioned as a standard bearer for his godfather Bors in the Battle of Bedegraine during the first rebellion of the British kings against Arthur. That battle itself deserves its own episode, but I'll tell you one thing, Arthur won that battle. Now the kings are warring against Arthur because in his early reign, a lot of these old kings didn't think Arthur had it in him to rule all of Britain. He's just a kid. Just because a kid pulls a sword out of a stone doesn't mean he deserves to lead. Boy, were they wrong. They lost. They lost big time. Bleoberis' godfather, Bors, was actually on Arthur's side during this war. Bleoberis is also mentioned a lot in his younger life, fighting against battles against Saxons, jousting at tournaments, stuff like that, like I said earlier. This isn't the first time we talked about Sir Bleoberis. I actually mentioned him in the episode about Sir Segwarides. I'll tell you that story again because it's an important Bleoberis story. I'll kind of give it a little bit of a different Bleoberis twist on it. So before the marriage of King Mark and Isolde, you know, Tristan and Isolde. She has a bunch of different ways they spell her name, so Isolde is what I'm going to go with. Bleoberis comes to the court of King Mark. Bleoberis tells King Mark who he is, and he demanded a boon since he was who he was. And I guess King Mark thought he deserved a boon. Whatever you want, you can have. So what Bleoberis asks for is he says, I want the fairest lady of my choosing. That's what I want. And King Mark Says, sure, you can get the fairest lady, whoever you want, it's yours. Bleoberis picks Sigwaride's wife. You remember this story? And he takes her to be his wife. And as soon as he chooses Sigwaride's wife, he sat her behind his squire on his horse, and they rode away before anyone could stop him. This is not what King Mark wanted out of this entire like boon giving. He just thought like another unmarried lady, but he didn't specify. So he's mad. Sigwaride's pissed as well. In fact, the entire court of Mark, King Mark, was not entirely impressed by that. So Sigwarides rides off to go save her. He catches up to Bleoberis and he challenges him to a fight. Bleoberis beats the fuck out of Sigwarides. Bleoberis is a far better knight, far better swordsman. Bleoberis or Sigwarides, sorry, is just trying to get his wife back. Bleoberis beats him so bad, he beats him almost to death, you know? One of Sigwaride's squires rides back to Mark's court to recount the details of the fight to everyone who is there. The court is again pissed, even more pissed this time. Tristan of the old Tristan and his old story, which we'll do eventually. But Tristan is pissed. He's been having a secret affair with this lady. This is before Isolde. So he heads out to save the wife of Sigwarides. Seeing this as an opportunity to like maybe secure his cheating, I guess, with this lady. Maybe just to hook up. Who knows? I don't know what Tristan was like. He seems like kind of a pretty boy. He likes to do that. Like fuck boy. He's kind of a fuck boy. I think Tristan was kind of a fuck boy. If you look him up, he's always looks like little prancy, like rich kid, trust fund kid. That's just my opinion. So Tristan does catch up to Bleoberis, pushing his horse to the limits to get there quicker. And he challenges Bleoberis to a fight. And they decide, you know what? Let's fight for this poor woman, the unnamed wife of Sigwarides, which, okay. I love how this is like women are just pawns in some sort of fucking game in these old stories. And they're considered so chivalrous. Like coming in demanding a wife, somebody else's wife, and then riding off. And then the other guy just comes in like, well, I want his wife. Why'd you take his wife? That's my girlfriend. I just love that shit. Chivalry, chivalry's dead, everyone, and I'm happy for it. I'm here for it. The chivalry doesn't sound that great, according to Arthurian legend from what I've read so far. So Tristram and Bleoberis square up, and Tristram is actually the better knight in this case, and he actually beats Bleoberis. He beats him to a pulp. He's not as bad as Bleoberis beat Sigwarides. Like Sigwarides was almost dead. You know, they had to send him to a nunnery. I love nunneries in this, by the way. We'll talk more about nunneries, but or abbot. He had to send him to an abbot to get healed up. So they're fighting, and Bleoberis and Tristram kind of decide, you know what, let's talk instead of killing each other. Let's have a conversation, which is reasonable and probably the smart thing to do. So they introduce each other to who they are. Tristram recognized that Bleoberis was the cousin of Lancelot, and then he thought to himself, well, this guy must be a good guy, even though he literally just went to a king's court and stole some guy's wife. So sure, maybe he's a good guy. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt he's that great of a guy. He's a guy from like I guess the legend would be like around the 1200s when this was written, but he would have been a guy from like the 800s. He's a piece of shit for sure. That's just my opinion. Lancelot, however, had a reputation for being one of the best knights in the world. Super famous in Arthurian legend. Lancelot was the man. He was the guy, you know. And Tristan also knew Lancelot as a friend, and he was also another knight of the Round Table. They decided to keep the peace in the name of Lancelot. My friend, your cousin, we should just squash this beef. Instead of us fighting, how about this? We'll do this really like new thing that not a lot of people are doing these days. Let's look to the woman and we'll let her decide, which great idea, guys. Ahead of your time. So they look to her and she looks over at Tristram, whatever his name is in all these different stories. She says that she loves him the most in the world and trusted him, but she doesn't want to go with him. She doesn't want to choose him because when Bleoberis came and took her, he didn't stop Bleoberis. He let Sigwarides, the clearly weaker knight, come and try to rescue her, while he just sat back and let it happen. So the wife of Sigwarides, this unnamed woman, decides that she's going to pick her husband instead of Bleoberis or little fuckboy Tristan. And she begs Bleoberis to bring her to the abbot or the nunnery where her husband is recovering. Bleoberis thought, you know what? We gave her the choice to choose. This is her choice. I'm going to be honorable and chivalrous, I guess, as a knight, and I'm gonna help you get to your husband. And he brings her there. I love nunneries in this. Just like that's what nuns are for. They just heal people. Or abbots, I guess. They go to an abbot, whatever. I just like it. The nuns are the only ones saving people's lives. Usually they're killing each other over something fucking stupid, and then they have to go to the nuns, and the nuns are like, ah, come on. Come on, just get another girl. There's lots of girls. Why do you guys have to fight over this girl? Okay, we're fighting. Perfect. Come back in. I wonder if they charged. The nuns must have charged something. What would you charge back then? I'll take your horse, sir. The nuns seem like the heroes in most of these stories so far. So Bleoberis drops the unnamed woman, unnamed wife of Sigward's off, and the rest of what happens is in the other episode. Bleoberis kind of just disappears after dropping off Sigward's wife. Just a weird ass Bleoberis story. But after dropping off Sigward's wife to meet him at the abbey, this gave Bleoberis the name of a noble knight. He was considered noble after this. I don't get it. I like reading all this stuff, but it's like times have changed so much. It's unreal. Another couple little things here about Sir Bleoberis or Sir Blueberries. He and his brother Sir Blamor were sent by King Arthur to summon King Anguish of Ireland. Arthur wanted King Anguish to come to Camelot to be judged for killing one of his cousins. And Arthur threatened King Anguish that if you didn't show up, you would be out of my good graces, and I'm going to take Ireland for myself. So if you don't show up, we're going to war, basically. He gets there. Now, the way some judgments were done back in these days, and I should say probably most, from what I've read so far, if there's any type of like what they'd have to do is they'd have to fight to the death, trial by combat, and each side got to pick a champion. Arthur looked over at the brothers Bleoberis and Blamor, and he goes, "Yeah, Bleoberis is like okay, you know what I mean, but Blamor or Blamor Deganis, Sir Blamor Deganis, he was a better fighter, and he wanted to win this to avenge his cousin, so he picks Blamor. King Anguish took as his champion the one, the only fuckboy Tristane. Tristane had already beaten Bleoberis, so Bleoberis already knew who he was. Tristane was the better knight overall than Blamor. Like Blamor, Sir Blamor didn't even have his chance, but he didn't know this. They know of fuckboy Tristane. Like he's famous enough, I would guess. But like Blamor's been in some scraps. He's been in fights before. But Bleoberis and his brother fought a lot. He knows that Tristane's a much better fighter. Even though he knows he's gonna lose this fight, Bleoberis tells his brother that you don't surrender this fight, even if it means being defeated. Our family name, we do not give up. We would rather die than suffer the shame of surrender. Bleoberis even tells Blamor, he's like, I fought this guy and I got my ass handed to me. He's one of the greatest knights I've ever seen. Look at that hair. He's a beauty. He's a little fuck boy who could beat the fuck out of both of us. So before battle, Bleoberis blesses his bro and realizes that my bro's probably dead. The fight is nothing for the great Tristane. This fight is not a tough one for him. Tristane or Tristan is just pummeling Sir Blamor. And as promised to his brother, Blamor tells Tristane, I am not going to surrender. I'm not going to admit defeat. As he's just beating him down, Tristane just kind of, I guess, feels bad and doesn't want to kill this helpless man. Blamor goes like, no, no, kill me. I would rather die than surrender. Bleoberis from the sidelines is like, dude, kill him. You're going to shame our family. Just kill me, damn it! Tristane decided that it was better off to go let the judges decide who was the winner. So the judges were like, Bleoberis was one of the judges, I guess. Arthur was a judge. King Anguish would have been a judge. Anybody that kind of like had any type of like notoriety within the court would have kind of had like an opinion on this. I guess Bleoberis wasn't really a judge. I guess it would be more King Arthur and King Anguish. I don't really know. But they asked Bleoberis what he thought, what they should do. And Bleoberis tells them, doubles down, tells them, let Tristane just kill my brother. I don't want the shame. Not in my family. We're not getting shamed by that. Just murder my brother. It's better off he dies so I don't have to like hear about it once at Christmas that like, you remember when your brother lost to Tristane, the fuck boy? Like, I don't want to hear that. Literally says to him, his body may be beaten, but his heart wasn't. So the judges, Arthur and Tristane, disagreed, and they let the poor Blamore, Blamore live. They tell Blamore and Bleoberis, I guess, in kind of like in proxy, that there's no shame in yielding in a fight. It is an honorable thing to do. So the brothers gather after the matchup and they go up to King Anguish, kiss him, literally, and promise never to fight again. And that's the end of that story. They just go up and kiss and make up. I wonder if that's where that like saying came from. Kiss and make up comes from like Sir Blamore just getting his face fucked up by Tristan and then kissing a king with like no teeth. I'm gonna go, yeah. I'm gonna go, that's where it came from. Oh, that's a freebie lie, guys. It's a freebie lie. Oh, God. So Bleoberis and Lancelot were not only cousins, they're also very good friends. There is a story where the pair come upon Sir Lamorak and Sir Meleagrant, Sir Meleagrant, in the middle of a fight. They're actually fighting. Lamorak and Sir Meleagrant are fighting over which queen is the most beautiful. Is it Morgan Le Fay or Guinevere? We're fighting over that. Like, what the fuck? And what kind of stupid ass fight is that? Who gives a fuck? Like, they're gonna kill each other over who the bigger hottie was? Like, it's so dumb. So Lancelot was about to side with Malegrant, fighting for the fact that Guinevere is the hotter of the hotties. You know, Bleoberis stops him, saying, "Dude, I already have a hot woman. I'm pretty sure it isn't Guinevere, so we shouldn't help." Not a direct quote, something like that. Not, dude, I already have a hottie. I don't need another hottie. We're good. But the sentiment's still the same. I know it's not the exact quote. There's another story here that I couldn't see. This is the thing about Bleoberis, and we'll talk about it in a bit, but like, Bleoberis used to defend a ford called Perilous Ford. Like a ford is like a shallow crossing in a river. And I guess he used to defend this ford. I don't know why. It's unclear as to why he used to defend the Perilous Ford. It seems like it's probably a pretty valuable place to hold strategically for like a kingdom of some sort. So maybe that was like his like position. I don't know. But he used to fight. He used to like defend it against anybody that was crossing. And it was not many people could get through this. In defending this ford, many people came to Bleoberis. Bleoberis fought a guy named Ginglain, who was the son of Sir Gawain. Ginglain defeats Bleoberis, and Ginglain sends the injured Bleoberis to Arthur. Bleoberis had friends with him at the ford that day who were outraged at the injuries that Ginglain actually hurt Bleoberis. So they're pissed about that. The friends were William of Salabret, Ellen of Grace, and the Knight of Say, and they chase after Ginglain to avenge their friend Bleoberis. Ginglain, being a phenomenal knight, another crazy great knight. Gawain was also a great knight, but that's his dad. He defeats all three men, just kills them all. I'm going with kills because that's what they did. They would have killed someone like that for sure. Something I also found out while researching this, that's the end of the story, by the way. That's just a weird, he used to defend a ford, got his ass beat, tried to avenge it, and I don't know. It's just a story. It is. So something I found out while researching this episode is that Arthur actually had a rape baby. You heard right. Yep, rape baby. Arthur forced himself upon some lady simply named Tanis's daughter when he encountered her in the forest by herself. Tanas's daughter. I just like how he raped this chick. She doesn't even get a name in these stories. He gets like the daughter of a different knight. Like Tanas was an evil knight who had killed his own son to sleep with his son's wife, and then he killed his own daughter to conceal the crime. And the daughter is the one that Arthur raped. So she dies. After Tanis kills his own daughter, he abandons his grandson in the forest, the rape baby. The son of Arthur is named Arthur the Less, which, wow. Wow, Tanis's daughter. That's what you name your Arthur rape baby, is Arthur the Less. I don't know if that's comes from something else. It probably does at some point. But Arthur the Less was actually found by a widow. Thank God. Otherwise, he probably would have died out in those forests. And he was raised by that widow until the age of 15. Arthur the Less eventually becomes a knight, becomes knighted by Sir Tristane, and he's only known in a lot of stories as the Unknown Knight, which is kind of fun. So when Arthur the Less reveals his lineage, because he knows it to Arthur, but he does it privately in court. Arthur is like, shit, dude, what? No, what? That story. I thought no one knew about that. And you're a product of that? Don't tell anybody that. I was weak. I couldn't help myself. She was walking in the forest by herself. I'm a king. Anyways, Arthur is a rapist. Okay. So he wants to keep the lineage secret because, like, I raped a girl story is not great for like a king. You know what I mean? There's a reason that story comes up. I know it has nothing to do with Bleoberis, but it will later on. I just want to let you guys know about Arthur the Less and where he came from because I don't know if Arthur the Less has a full episode in him. Maybe, not yet. Another Bleoberis story. Bleoberis loved to joust. He was a big time jouster. He actually, as a fighter with a sword, not great. As a jouster, though, he had the highest number of wins in the jousting ring of the Knights of the Round Table. One time he jousted King Arthur, who also had a reputation of being the best jouster in Camelot. So when they fought, this is one of those like pay-per-view big time matches that nowadays would be like something you would pay for. You know, I bet you people paid to go there to watch the two best jousters go at it, one of them being the king. And there's danger you could die from jousting, just saying. So it would be interesting to watch. All the kings from all the surrounding lands came to watch this joust. They were actually fighting for a golden goblet that had the supernatural power that when you drank from the goblet, you could see the future. Merlin, the wizard Merlin, who I cannot wait to dig into him, but the wizard Merlin had taken it off a dragon who had stolen it from another wizard 100 years prior. Merlin bet on Arthur winning the battle. So Merlin thought that Arthur was the only man worthy of knowing the future and assumed that he would best the cousin of Lancelot. Bleoberis didn't even want the prize. He was just wanted to win. He wanted to beat the king. He wanted to put that to bed, have all the bragging rights, finally be the best jouster in all of Camelot. The goblet was just an extra, a cherry on top. With a Camelot bustling with people watching the joust, Bleoberis and the King of Kings square off. And Bleoberis wins the joust in the first pass of the lance. Everyone was disappointed, and it was too short for everyone's taste, I'm guessing. I don't really, they just said everyone's disappointed. And Merlin, also very disappointed because he bet on his king, presented the underdog with his magical goblet. Best part about this story, maybe not the best part about the story, but like a weird part about the story is with Bleoberis, like I said, didn't even want the goblet. He just refuses the gift and he gives it to Arthur as a token of his undying companionship. Arthur just kept the goblet, and whenever there was a big battle, he would use the drink from the goblet and kind of get an edge up on some sort of warfare. All because of Bleoberis. Bleoberis could have had that. Merlin didn't even need to give it, I guess, as a prize, but anyways. The Goblet of Gold. I don't know if that goblet had a name. I should have looked that up. As we get to the later part of the Arthurian legend, when tensions start to build up with Arthur and Lancelot, and the war breaks out between them, Bleoberis sides with Lancelot, which we find that a couple people have already sided with Lancelot in this separating of the knights. Bleoberis is there helping cut down Guinevere from the pyre where she was meant to be burned at the stake for adultery after she was busted because of bloody. What was the story? It was like Lancelot. They're banging it out, and there's too much blood because he was like bleeding from the fighting. That's how the people found it out. It's funny. Bleoberis was present at the Battle of Salisbury or the Battle of Camlan. We talked about the Battle of Camlan in the King Arthur episode. It's the final battle between Arthur and Mordred, where they both die. Arthur kills Mordred at the end of the battle, and Arthur is dies a couple days later. If you want to go listen to that, that's all in the Arthurian episode, the King Arthur episode. Many of the knights actually die in this battle, but Bleoberis is one of the few that actually survives. And after the battle, Bleoberis takes Mordred's body, ties it up to the horse, and drags it around the battlefield until it's in pieces. That is not the lie. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's a real thing. And then later on, there's a monument built where the battle happened upon the plain of Salisbury. And that monument was called the Tower of the Dead. And Bleoberis hangs Mordred's head from the top of it. Crazy. These guys are savages. I just love how like there's codes to being a knight. You know what I mean? You got to be chivalrous, all this stuff. But you could cut someone's fucking head off and put it on a monument just because you didn't like the guy. Times are different, man. So different. That was normal. Like that was normal shit to do. Kids watch this stuff. Kids were like told to go look at it as a warning. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It's such a different time. Then, after he puts the head of Mordred on top of the monument, Arthur the Less confronts Bleoberis. The only reason I told you about the Unknown Knight earlier. Arthur the Less is pissed that Bleoberis took the side of Lancelot during the conflict of the two. So he attacks Bleoberis. Bleoberis is the best jouster in the land. Sure. Not the best fighter in the land, but he's not a bad fighter. He's actually quite the good fighter. He grew up with Lancelot. Lancelot's considered the best of the best. Arthur's considered one of the best. He knows Arthur. He fought with Arthur in the past. He he's a good fighter. Arthur the Less grew up in the woods with some random widow who found him. Not the same. They're not the same. Bleoberis actually kills Arthur the Less in this battle. After all this, Bleoberis follows Lancelot into exile and he actually becomes a hermit. And after Lancelot dies, he became a priest or something like that. But he dies eventually. He helps with the burial. While hanging out with the other knights at the funeral, they all decide to go fight in the Crusades. And this is how Bleoberis dies, fighting in the Crusades. And that's the story of Bleoberis, Sir Bleoberis. My final thoughts on Sir Bleoberis. I feel like Blueberries would be better understood if I were a scholar of Arthurian legend, which I'm not. I just like dabble in this stuff for fun. I do a little bit of research, kind of give you guys. I'm sure if I did like a whole big whack of research, I could understand a lot better. I found it all of Blueberry stories to be disjointed and kind of hard to follow. Kind of like it's hard to put it together a timeline when stuff happened. It was just of all the knights I've looked up so far, I feel like Blueberries is always a peripheral character. The only reason he's in any stories at all is to further someone else's main story. He's just a side character, if that makes sense. And I'm sure there's a lot more stories out there that I just didn't catch on to or I didn't research enough hard into. But from what it's out there, his most famous stories are starring someone else and he's just there. But I did find him quite entertaining and thought that was pretty fun. So Sir Blueberries, Sir Bleoberis. Now, thanks for listening, guys. If you could please go on to our rating system on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever else you can give a rating, just give us a 5 star. Go say something nice. You can say something mean too. Give 1 stars. I don't care really. I just want it would be nicer to get some 5 stars. It'd be nice to get this show rolling further into the future. I enjoy doing this and thank you guys all for listening. If you want to go on to our Patreon, we don't have one. So if you really want a Patreon, message me. You can always email privatedicksdetectiveagency@gmail.com. I'm on there quite often. I will definitely answer your email. And if you want to find us on Facebook, we're Private Dicks Detective Agency is our group. And join up. I know there's lots of listeners from California. I don't know anybody from California, so I like how that is translated into a thing. I think California has our highest listeners. So if anybody from California listens to this, just message us in the Facebook. Find me on Facebook, Richard Sudol. Go rate us. And thanks for listening. I'll see you next week with something else.
I just watched Private Dicks and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.